When you actually start living your life from curiosity instead of expectation, everything shifts. When we live in expectations, we limit our experience of life. Curiosity is expansive. Curiosity opens you up to everything. Hello and welcome to the Gratitude and Growth Podcast, your compass for a grateful and growth-filled life. I'm your host, Sarah Mittich. I'm an actor, a transformational life coach, and the founder of Gratitude and Growth. But above all, I am a wildly curious person, and I have spent over a decade researching and studying the worlds of mindset, somatics, spirituality, and self-discovery. All to understand why we do what we do, who we innately are, and how we actually become the person that we want to be. So whether you're driving or walking, or just taking a break from your day, thank you so much for being here and for joining me as we explore what it is to be a human being in this lifetime. Hello, and welcome to Season 3 of the Gratitude and Growth Podcast. I am so pumped to be back, and I'm kicking off this season with something that has quietly but profoundly reshaped my entire life, and that's curiosity over expectation. This phrase, this mindset has become my personal motto this last year. My clients know it, my friends hear me say it all the time, and here's the thing. When you actually start living your life from curiosity instead of expectation, everything shifts. I've realized that my curiosity is my superpower. I am a wildly curious person. I've been this way since I was a kid. I remember when I was like 8 or 9, I was sitting in my car with my mom in our driveway, and I turned to her and I was like, "Mom, why is this my story? Why can't I know what you're thinking? Why do I only know my thoughts?" And that has literally been me my entire life. Every time I meet someone new, I love asking them, okay, why do you do what you do? What drives you? What was your childhood like? And I've just realized that it's my curiosity that has gotten me to exactly where I am today, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I want to break this down for you. So on a mental level, curiosity has invited me to ask those deeper questions, sometimes the tough ones. Why am I showing up in certain ways? Why is someone triggering me? Am I who I want to be? And if not, how do I get there? Physically, curiosity has reshaped my relationship with my body and especially my nervous system. So I started asking myself, okay, what do I need today? What am I feeling today? What am I craving today? In what situations do I feel safe and heard? And in what situations do I not feel safe and heard? Does my body need to slow down? Does my body need to speed up? Do I need to release something? And spiritually, curiosity has led to my greatest inner revelations. Simply just asking and meditating on the question, who am I? Repeatedly for long periods of time has led me to find books, teachers, resources that have all helped me understand who and what I am, what I'm here to do. And they've all led me to have some of the most profound spiritual experiences. And it's my curiosity that has led me to my peace and my freedom and to everything that you're experiencing with this podcast, with Gratitude and Growth. Especially these last 8 months, I have leaned into curiosity like never before. I've just decided to operate from this mindset of, let's just see what happens. So instead of, will this one thing work? Will I gain this outcome or this result? I've just shifted to, let's just try and see what happens. Whether it's something in my acting career, whether it's something I'm launching with G&G, Whether it's having a tough conversation with my partner or with a loved one or with a friend, or honestly, whether it's just getting through a really tough day. Curiosity has kept me open, it has kept me grounded, and most importantly, it's kept me moving forward, especially in the moments when I want to stop and I want to procrastinate and I want to shut the world away. Here's the thing about expectations. When we live in expectations, we limit our experience of life. And what I mean by that is when we set specific expectations on how something needs to turn out, on the result of something, on how somebody is supposed to behave, we immediately limit what we allow to bring us happiness, peace, joy, contentment. Let me break this down for you. So literally, we say things like, I can only be happy if it's sunny and warm out, but not if it's cold and rainy and dreary. So I can only be happy if XYZ happens, but not if ABC happens. Do you see how even this example of the weather, it's such a small thing, but we have immediately limited our experience of what can bring us joy because only warm sunny days can bring us joy. And the thing is, expectations are directly correlated with our wanting to control. Are wanting to control the externals, are wanting to control the weather, are wanting to control how people behave so we can feel safe. And the thing is, there is no control. We have no control over the external circumstances of our life. The only thing we have control over is how we show up internally and our relationship to all of these things. But curiosity is expansive. Curiosity opens you. Expectations create narrow, single-minded outcomes. Curiosity opens you up to everything. Curiosity, especially in relationships, has been a game changer. And I should say in relationship to other people, but also relationship to myself. When I stopped expecting people to behave or show up a certain way, and I just let them be whoever they needed to be that day, it immediately brought in more empathy, more compassion, more understanding into my life and into that relationship. So if they're reacting in a way that even hurts me or triggers me, instead of reacting back, instead of taking it personally, I've started to lean more into curiosity and ask, okay, cool. What might they be navigating that I don't know? What might be under this reaction for them? And because I do genuinely try to root as many of my actions as I can from love and not from fear, I always ask myself, how can I view them with more softness, more openness, instead of judgment? And then we can turn that same lens of curiosity onto ourselves. And especially in the moments when we don't show up in ways we are proud of, when we're making mistakes, when we're having those crunchy, cringy moments because we're doing everything wrong, instead of diving into judgment and self-criticism, which is how most of us are hardwired, lean into curiosity. Okay, cool. Why did I show up that way? Why did I fail? I say that in quotes, at this. Did I set myself up for this? Am I overpromising myself? Am I people-pleasing? Am I underslept? Am I overworked? Asking ourselves these things gives us that same grace. And it's asking yourself, okay, can I get curious instead of getting so damn hard on myself? Curiosity has also been, I've learned, the gatekeeper to my creativity. This has been huge for me this last year. Because here's the thing, when you stop expecting your artistry, your idea, your launch, your results to look a specific way, you open yourself up to creative inspiration. This is also very true if you're stuck trying to figure out a problem. So if you're on the hamster wheel of trying to solve a problem right now, you're usually in that narrow outcome, in that world of expectation of wanting one result. I encourage you to dip into curiosity and to ask yourself, what more is possible here? Let go of what you think the result or the solution needs to look like, because then when you open yourself to creative inspiration, you also open yourself up to infinite possibilities. So infinite possibilities is something that I heard of for so many years in the personal growth, self-development, spirituality worlds. And I was always like, cool, infinite possibilities sounds awesome. How do I get that? I'm really big on the hows. Those of you who've been listening for a while know that. How do I access infinite possibilities? And curiosity is one of those. It's one of those tools. Because again, you open yourself up to anything that's possible, and for that creative, divine, whatever word you want to use, inspiration to come through. Our human minds, especially when we're on that one single outcome narrative, is very limited, very limited. But when you open yourself up with that curiosity, you open yourself up to be fueled by so much more and things that are so much greater than you. It's why you've probably experienced it when you're waiting for something or you are trying to figure something out. And the moment you step back and you start living your life and you start exploring things, you naturally hear from that person or hear from that gig or come up with that solution. That is the power of curiosity. Back to creative endeavors. If you're stuck in your artistry, this has been a really great practice for me, especially even with things like this podcast, right? Instead of thinking, what should I make? What should I make for other people? Expectations are laced with the shoulds of life. Ask yourself, what wants to come through me today? So there were times where with this podcast, I was like, what should I talk about? I have so much I want to talk about. What should I talk about? And though that works and it helps me create outlines or a plan, sometimes it feels so restricting. And so I just started asking myself, sometimes the day of a recording, or sometimes my recordings just happen after my journal entries. And I ask myself, what wants to come through me today? What is lighting me up today that I want to share? Because whatever lights you up, your magnetism is going to spark, and that magnetism will then light everybody else up. That is why curiosity is the gatekeeper to creativity, because it removes the pressure to perform and to prove, and it invites in play. Remember play? It invites in flow. It invites in joy. And we're way more creative when we're playful and joyful than when we're just focused on trying to solve something. Curiosity is also a superpower when you're hit with those tough emotional moments, right? We get hit with grief, with loss, with frustration, with change, with paralysis, with fear. And it's curiosity in those moments that lets us ask, okay, what else is here? Yes, I'm experiencing anxiety. Okay, what else could be true? What else is real in this moment? Where is this fear coming from? Is it because I'm living in a future that hasn't happened yet? I'm mentally living in a future that's either better or worse than where I'm at? Or am I stuck ruminating in the past on something that has happened but has no relevance to this moment right now? It's curiosity that lets you sit in those emotional moments without becoming the emotion. It's curiosity that lets you witness them as something separate than you and lets you sit in the seat of the observer and let them pass. The same goes for that self-awareness mentally that curiosity brings that I mentioned. Curiosity is amazing because it lets you investigate your mental patterns without shame and without wrapping up your worth in the outcome of something. And I think that is such a great gift because this is where your growth lives. Your growth lives in the fact that, let's be real, most of the time, we operate without guarantees. We operate without facts. We operate without knowing how something's going to pan out, from our relationship to our business venture. But curiosity lets you embrace the unknown with less fear. And again, without the result of any of that deeming your value or your worth. This is why curiosity matters so much. Because it gives you the permission to just try without tying up your worth in the result. It gives you permission to explore yourself, to explore your relationships, to explore your life without needing certainty. And it gives you the permission to just show up without demanding perfection. And I think that is such a grace we can give ourselves, and that is such grace we can give other people. Curiosity reminds you that you don't have to get it right. You just got to stay open. That is your only job. This is the quiet work of becoming who you want to be. Not by force, not by perfection, not by trying to prove or perform. Just by getting curious about yourself, about your life, and about your choices. Okay. I'm going to leave you with a gentle challenge this week. Should you choose to accept it, should you choose to participate, I want you to reflect on one area of your life where you are feeling the shoulds, or you're feeling the, I need to do it this way. I need to get it right. It has to pan out like this. And I invite you to just ask the question, what would curiosity look like here? And just get curious about this exercise. You know, personal growth, curiosity over expectation is the most valid for me in the work, in the personal growth. Whenever somebody starts working with me, and I explain to them the method and methods that I use, one of the first things I say is, don't expect anything from this. Just get curious. Just try. Because when we go into the work of ourselves, if we go into it with, I'm going to fix myself, and this is the expectation that I have that this method will bring, we immediately shift into the energy of need. And need is fear. When we're operating from need, we're operating from a place of fear. But if we can pivot to, okay, let's just try and see what happens. When we can pivot to that curiosity, to that openness, we shift into the frequency of love. And this is where you experience all the results you want to experience because you do not need them. There is no fear laced behind your thoughts, words, and actions. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up with something I'm grateful for and something I am growing through right now. I have to say, on the theme of today's episode, I am so grateful for my curiosity. It truly has led me to such revelations, and it has led me to discovering more passions, and it's led to everything that you are seeing and hearing today. And so I'm so grateful for always being the person to ask everybody a million questions. And something that I'm growing through right now is trusting that moving in presence is enough. So I've got a lot going on right now behind the scenes. And I'm doing this thing where I only move as fast as I can stay present. And some days that is a challenge because the ego loves to move at a different pace. Some days it wants to move way faster, and other days it wants to procrastinate and stagnate. And it takes willpower to be in presence when presence is also speedy. So I will keep you posted on this, but it has been my growth lately, and I have a feeling it will be for a while. All right. Thank you so much for joining in to the beginning of season 3 of the podcast. Again, I'm so excited to be back. As always, stay grateful and keep growing. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated, send it to someone you love. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and you send me the screenshot, I will send you a free guided meditation called Gratitude for Growth as a thank you gift for supporting the show. Your reviews, subscribes, likes, comments, shares really help me get this content out to even more people. So your support truly does go a long way. You can find the form in the show notes or at www.gratitudegrowth.com. And I hope to see you back here soon as we continue to explore this wild and beautiful thing that we all call life.